Hey, what's up, everybody? Let's get it started today. I want to talk about some good stuff. Um, Debt that's released on the market. This stuff is like incredibly like exploding. Like there's going to be so many people getting hit with debt collection letters, um, and they're buying the debt and they're trying all types of strategies to collect it. I interviewed uh, a young lady that worked for a uh, bankruptcy law firm, and she stated that she wanted to leave that law firm because of the workload. And I was, just asking some questions because it can help me gather information about what's going on in the market, and also allow me to share that information with everybody here on YouTube. And she stated that one of the biggest problems from the change in 2006 to the bankruptcy laws is that most people are being stuck into a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, and they are very, very, very unhappy when they get stuck with that payment uh, program. Yes, the debt collectors have to stop calling. Yes, um, you know, you get some sort of debt relief. But when they look at everything and they add up the numbers, they say it would have been better to be able to file a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. As a matter of fact, and you can look this up yourself, almost 95% of the people who file a Chapter 13 bankruptcy come back around and file a Chapter 7 bankruptcy because the Chapter 13 put them in a worse financial situation than they were before. The only thing that changed was they didn't have the debt collectors calling them at that time. They still had to make payments. They still didn't have money. They made payments. They didn't have to pay a whole bunch of people. They just paid one place, but they were in still bad financial situation. And I'm going to go into that too, from reading some recent articles. But let's just quickly, I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm just going to take the bigger ones. We got $69 million. All of these are 2008 charge offs: 69 million, 60 million, 54 million, 29 million, 49 million, 243 million, 243 million, 45 million, 56 million, 12 million, 28 million, 32 million dollars. Average charge off date 2008, 2007, 2006, 2005. Unbelievable that they can try to come after people for these debts. And there's new debts that's being released that is not past statute of limitations, that is being purchased by third party debt collectors. Let me tell you what to do first. First thing, you should check statute of limitations for the debt. I say this over and over again because there's still millions of people out there that just don't even know that every state has a statute of limitations for collecting the debt. And if it's past that legal statute of limitations, you don't even have to fight over the debt validation of if the debt is valid. All you have to do is submit a letter stating that you want them to cease and desist all collection activities collecting that debt because it's past the legal statute of limitations. Not to be confused with a cease and desist to stop contacting me about a debt. I'm talking about a cease and desist collection activities. Some people here on YouTube are getting those two confused. There's a cease and desist where you can tell a debt collector, don't call me, don't call my friends, neighbors, nobody, only communicate by mail. And you cannot stop them with a cease and desist to stop communicating by mail. They have that right, but you can stop them by calls. But what I'm talking about with debt that is past the legal statute of limitations, to collect. You send a cease and desist all collection activities, notifying them that they're attempting to collect a debt that's past the legal statute of limitations to collect in your state. To find out what the statute of limitations for a debt is in your state, you can go to my website, go to my blog, and type in statute of limitations, and then you'll see state by state the legal statute of limitations. In the fourth column, there's a column that says open-ended accounts, open-end accounts. Those are credit card type accounts where you can charge and then you can recharge. Closed accounts are like an auto loan or personal loan where you pay it down and you don't get to recharge that amount again. Most of these are department store credit cards and national credit cards. So that's what you would do. If it's not past the legal statute of limitations to collect, then you send a debt validation to make them prove every aspect about the debt. And I have both of those letters for free below this video. All you have to do is click it. Also, before I move forward, I want everyone to subscribe to the channel and get notified. I need to get my numbers up. Okay, and so we got the statute of limitations letter, cease and desist statute of limitations for collecting. That letter is for free. Click below, and you'll also get the debt validation letter if you need to use that one. So now let's get into it, what I want to talk about today. 46% of Americans don't have $400 emergency funds. This article was written in 2016. It was actually written before that in 2008. And it was recently rewritten just in August of 2020. And it says that 76 million Americans are suffering financially, and they gave their 5 reasons. And let me go here because I want to talk about their reasons, and then I want to talk about the reasons I believe. They said that healthcare was number one, that people are spending a large amount of their money on healthcare. Number 2, they said people were eating out, spending their hard-earned money on eating out. Number 3, lifestyle. They're trying to keep up with the Joneses, try to do what they see other people doing, and they're spending beyond their means. And then they had number 4, which was kind of put in because of COVID. They had job-related expenditures, things that you have to spend to keep yourself going in your job. A lot of teachers, like for example, teachers were buying things that that wasn't supplied just so they could keep supplies for the kids. And then number 5, they said was debt, and that could be credit card debt. They said the average credit card amount debt that an average American is holding over $6,100 is actually even more than that. And the average is $31,000 in student loans, and it's really actually more than that. And they say that these are the reasons that people feel that they're constantly broke. So now I want to go into my reasons. I think these are valid reasons, but I want to go into my reasons because I believe that we are probably more related in our experiences than the person that wrote this article that has a nice, cushy job. Not to say that you don't have a nice, cushy job, but let me tell you the reasons that I see and the reasons also why I had trouble even when I had got to making money in the 90s. When I had went from broke in 1990 to making over $100,000 with my first company in 1994, and I was at $300,000 in debt. So let me go over the reasons why I believe that people are broke. And also, it does not one of the things that people don't understand, it it doesn't matter all the way on how much money you make. It matters on what you do with that money. Because and to prove that point, when I have went when in 1990 when I started my first company, uh, my wife and I was making $364.84 every 2 weeks. I was making $6.25 per hour as a security guard. And we started our first business, and after 8 months, I was able to quit my security guard job, third shift security guard job. But what I did during that, just so I could tell you that it wasn't a cakewalk, for 8 months, I worked from 8 to 4 in the morning, and then I slept a little bit, and then I got up at 8 o'clock and did my business, me and my wife, and we had to hit the streets. There wasn't no internet and all that stuff like it is now. There wasn't no cell phones and all that stuff like it is now. I got my butt up and I did it, and we hit the streets and we sold advertising. That's what we did. Uh, and some people wouldn't do it. You know, there's people. I just said that I'm going to do it. There was no turning back. There was nothing. We were going to do it. I knew in my mind the type of lifestyle I wanted for me and my family. And so, you know, some people won't do that. They'll think that it's too hard or they'll quit. I was not going to quit. So we went from that to making $100,000, buying everything for ourselves, buying everything for our kids. I had six cars, and ended up being $300,000 in debt. Like unbelievable. You went from no money and now you're in bad situation with money. Because when they talk about this article here, the number one thing that really hurts people is that they end up making more money and they end up spending more money. They end up getting access to credit and using credit cards, and they all of a sudden they have all those payments just blowing up. So here are my 5 reasons. Reason number one is education about how money works. Education about how money works. Rarely any of us is educated about how money works. I've educated my children on how money works. And even though they may not accept it 100% now, but I thought it was my job to educate them about that money is something that is a tool. The money is not exactly what you see. Money is, it gives you access to do things. It gives you, it's like a tool that you use to do things. Money brings the value, but also what people need to understand is that the individual is actually the money. Like we are actually, and this is very hard sometimes for people to understand, but if you make yourself valuable, you will always have money. People think that money is something that's external, but if you really look at it and you talk to people and you might ask someone that's driving a new car, you'll ask them what do they do for money. And if you really dig deeper, if you had good conversations with people, like you're having a conversation with me now right here on YouTube, is that if you really dig down deep and you were sitting down and you asked me the questions and you would say, well, Steve, you do this and you earn money, and you do that and you earn money, and you invest and you earn money, and you did real estate and you earn money, and you also lost money, and you when you if we were having that conversation with each other and you we kept talking and talking and talking, what I would end up telling you is that really what made money was my mindset, was me. Whenever I lost money, it was because I was not 100% engaged. And really, some of the times I didn't even want to do that. Like there's been businesses that I started and didn't make money in them. And really, when I look back at it, it was because I did not really want to make money in them. I'm the money. The money that materializes is the end result. But if it's something that I want to do, something that I feel great about, that I feel encouraged deep down in my heart. Like I did the credit repair company for years and didn't make no money, didn't make any money, and I kept doing it. I remember when I was sitting in my office some of the times, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't continue doing this credit repair business. Why should I keep putting money into that business when I have this other successful business? And then all of a sudden, someone would walk in my office and they would tell me what they're going through. And I was like, I just got to keep helping people because I get something that's just totally uh, different when I help people and I educate people about credit and getting out of debt. And it's very hard. Like a person can lose weight before they can fix their credit and get out of debt. Trust me. You may not believe me on that, but it is 100% true that a person can lose. It's easier to lose weight than it is to get out of debt and to repair your credit. So uneducated about money, uneducated about how money works, uneducated about the understanding that the individual, you, yourself, we, we are the money, and the money is a material item that comes into existence when we align ourselves on the inside to earn money. Now, the next thing is uneducated about credit, about how to use credit, about why credit is even available. Like a lot of people get credit and they use credit to buy things rather than using credit to, as the way that I would use credit is to make money. Credit should only be used to make money, and you should return those funds that you use to earn that money, and then you take your profit. What people are doing now is they use credit to get things, and some people even use credit for business, but they're not truly seeing their numbers and seeing the difference on what they're actually profiting. One of my customers that I had, he ended up having over 300 and something thousand dollars in credit card debt, and he had very successful businesses. And I was like, why do you have so much credit card debt? And it was because he did not do the numbers. In the end of the day, even though he was making money with his businesses, he did not do the numbers to see exactly where he's how much money he's making. Let me give you an example. Um, for one of my businesses, the expenses on that business every month before I make any money for myself is over $25,000 uh, before I make any money for myself. So if I was using credit to keep that business afloat, and then at the end of the month I see how much money is coming in, and I did not know my numbers, and I make $30,000 from that business, and but I take 20,000 for myself, and I pay, instead of paying off all of the credit that I use for that business, I pay a portion of it. And that's what I see a lot of people do. That's really the trick that credit card companies use, is that they say, oh, just pay these small monthly payments. And then people end up looking up and they're like, I'm in all of this debt and I've been making all these small monthly payments. And then what they usually do is they stack and get another card, another card, another card, transfer to that card, and that card is back open that they can utilize that credit again. You got to always know your numbers. Actually, one of the best things that I've ever done is I'll put all of my expenses on a spreadsheet, and I don't even call them expenses. I just call them uh, uh, lifestyle. What did I put on there? I call it lifestyle something. But I don't say lifestyle expenses instead of bills. And and so I'll put them all on a spreadsheet, and I do this for my businesses so I can know where they're at, or I'll print out a report, and I'll just see where we're at. And what when I started doing that years ago, I actually was able to stop paying myself. Now I do pay myself. Don't get me wrong, I pay myself, But what happened was I knew so much about what I had to do to maintain all of my businesses, to maintain my household, that I didn't even have to really take money out for myself for things that I thought that I used to have to. I didn't have to pay myself a check. I could just wait until I either needed something or wanted something, or just wait to the end of the year and just see what everything added up and maybe buy myself something big if I wanted to, or maybe not. But that is what ended up happening when I put that on a spreadsheet. And when you understand how credit works, even if you're utilizing credit for a business or if you're utilizing credit for yourself and your household, if you know what you have coming in and what actually is yours, you're going to be able to utilize credit a lot better. Now, the other number three is uneducated about time for money exchange. You go to work and you exchange your time being at work for money. But this is one of the problems that a lot of people run into also. Because if you base everything that you do for your life on earning money based on your exchange for your time for money, you will never be able to get ahead of the money game unless you end up making a whole bunch of money from your job, which you can. I have sales reps here that make, $10,000 in a month or $15,000 in a month. They make very good money. Uh, my sales reps for my different two different companies. Uh, but you can make a lot of money. But what I even see with people that work a job and they exchange time for money is that they end up it gradually increasing. As they increase their money, they get moved to a bigger house. They get more credit cards. They have uh, uh, more cars, expensive cars. So what they end up doing, what I did when I started my business, is that you keep moving up, and when you move up, you actually have less money for yourself. When you understand that you're in that situation, and that's what I tell people, because everybody is not of the mindset to own a business. So what I tell people is that if you are in that exchange of time for money situation, you must keep everything to a minimum as possible for your expenses. You must know what is coming in, and you must put aside a certain amount of money that you're going to save. You have to. If you don't do it, you're going to end up, no matter what amount of money you're making, no matter how many raises you get, you are not going to be able to keep sustaining yourself. I'm going to take a quick drink of my coffee here. So, uneducated about the time for money exchange. Now, the fourth one is knowing how they don't know how to save money. Uh, the One of my Arab friends, very good friend of mine, taught me about saving money years ago. It was, when I had went through that in the 1994. My wife and I, we said we're gonna get out of debt. It took us from 94 to 95. But during that time, I was speaking with one of my friends, an Arab business store owner. At that time, he had a grocery store. Now he has restaurants and uh, cell phone stores. And he would tell me, no matter what, I save. And I was like, well, how much you save? And he was saying, like, minimum, I'm going to put aside 5,000 bucks per month. And I was like, man, how do you do that? And he was like, you just have to do it. And I was like, but I don't see how to do it. I'm not understanding how to do it. He was like, go through all of your expenses and everything, go through everything. And if you have to, you don't take anything for yourself, but you are actually taking something for yourself, and you put aside money for yourself. Just save it. No matter what, you got to save it. And that was like some of the best advice someone had ever gave me, because from utilizing what he had said, And making those changes, those mindset changes that me and my wife made, we ended up buying our first car and we paid cash for it. It was only 8,400 bucks, but we paid cash for that vehicle. And I was like, that was some damn good advice, because what I had started doing, now we had already figured out our budgeting. We were in our credit repair process where we was sending stuff back, like we were actually telling them, come pick up that car and then we'll settle the difference. And we will come up with a settlement agreement on the difference. And uh, paying off credit cards that we had, gas cards. Like we were doing everything that we could do possible to pay down that debt. And the strategy we used real quick was, some of it was past statute of limitations. Well, we actually didn't know at that time, but it was past statute of limitations, and we ended up doing very good settlements on that debt. And I believe now, when I look back, that they did those settlements because they knew it was past statute of limitations on some of those open end cards. With the cars, we sent them back, paid the differences on the with the after they sold it at auction. We settled on the remaining balances, and then we just worked hard at looking at our expenses, and just we paid cash for everything that we would get, or we just didn't get it, and we started saving money. So that was the some of the best advice. And so I'm want to pass that advice over to you. It doesn't matter if you save $10 a month, or $10 per week, or $5, whatever. You need to get into the habit of putting aside money. And what I tell people to do, don't put it in the bank. Don't put it in the bank, because if you try to put it in the bank, and this goes to what I talk about, how we are more closer to each other than the individual that wrote this article. Because I know how you are feeling about your money, and I know how you feel about banks. You don't trust banks. I know, because I don't trust banks. So I know you don't feel comfortable about leaving your money in there. So I'm going to tell you, number one, that you can trust banks, because I have large amounts of money in banks. So you can trust banks. But right now, because you're where I was, you don't trust banks really. So what you need to do is you need to just put aside some money every week. You look, and also you need to write down all of your expenses that you have and know what you have going out. And you're going to have to make a sacrifice, which is not really a sacrifice. You're going to have to make a decision that you're not going to spend money on anything else, anything extra, that this is the way it's going to be, is you're going to pay your household expenses, or you're going to allocate for that with your money that you have coming in, and then you're going to allocate a portion that's left over to go to savings. And when you look at that and you say, well, I don't even have any money, all of my money is going out in my expenses, then the next thing you need to do is start scratching off those expenses. And let me tell you, part of your expenses is anything extra that you spend. Anything extra that you spend going shopping, out to eat, any type of stuff, that you may not have that on your list of expenses. You need to add that to your expenses so you can scratch those off and then see truly how much money off of your net income that you have at either weekly, bi-weekly, or at the end of the month. Number five, the big one. Number five, the big one of my five reasons people struggle is because they have a fear of failure. You are comfortable with where you're at, even though you're struggling, you are afraid of success. You are afraid to step out and get into that war zone, because you think you have to know how fast that war is going to end. You think, what if I would have thought in 1994, when I had to know when everything was going to be resolved? I did not know. My wife and I did not know. But what we did is we made a decision and we said, we don't care about the fear. We don't care. We can't continue living this way. We flipped it to where we were more fearful of living that way, of setting bad examples for our three daughters, fighting and arguing with ourselves. We did not want to continue living that. So the fear was flipped. We jumped into the battle and we got the job done. And it took us from 1994 to 1999. A lot of people won't even stand in it that long. Stop being afraid of success. Stop thinking that you have to know when something is going to materialize for you, because when you get 100% invested in it, when you the person, the power is inside of you, and when you start thinking that way, stuff will start materializing for you. Money will come to you. It will materialize. Your credit will materialize for the better. You stop yourself from succeeding because you are so afraid of failure. I had to do it. I had to get it in my head. Even when I became sort of successful, I still had a mindset that was trapping me with these 5 things that I just told you. You could have more money and make more money and still had a mindset of a poor person. Train your mind, allow yourself to be 100% invested, and you will start to see things materialize for you. Believe me, trust me, it happens every day in my life. You need to have enthusiasm about what you are trying to achieve, because your enthusiasm will keep you going. It'll keep that blood going. It's like exercising. Remember, I said it's a lot easier to lose weight than it is to get out of debt and to repair your credit. And the reason why is because you have to use more mental power, more belief, because you have to exercise your mind that whatever you're doing to get out of debt, whatever you're doing to fix your credit is going to work. And you have other people, bureaus, furnishers, debt collectors, original creditors that also are the other side that you have no control of. See, when you're trying to lose weight, all you have to do is tell yourself, hey, don't eat that and exercise. You have 100% control over all of it. You have control over your body, you have control over your mind, you have control over what you eat. All of it is in your hand right there, and you have to just make the right decisions on it. But when you're trying to get out of debt, when you're trying to repair your credit, you have bureaus to fight. You have furnishers to fight, debt, which are debt collectors, creditors. They make their own decisions, and you have to keep continually fighting back against them from the decisions that they made. And then you might have to end up doing settlements like we had to do, so you can finish it off and go all the way through so you can get to that other side of that mountain. I feel for you that are still here watching this, I want to thank you and congratulate you, because I wish, and I'm not even going to say that. I was about to say I wish that there was someone here, like I'm doing this for you, that there was someone that I could listen to. But I take that back, because there was people there. Les Brown, Marshall Silver, uh, all of the different motivational speak, Tony Robbins. There were people there, and I listened to them. and I still listen to all of them. So I'll take that back. There are people, there's always people. What you have to do is you have to accept it when that person comes to you, you have to accept it. Yesterday I was on the phone with an individual and he said that I was watching something on YouTube and then you popped up. I pop up for a reason. I'm being sent to you. Out of the millions of videos that are out there, out of the millions of videos and out of the thousands of videos that talk about credit and debt, out of the thousands of channels, my video came up for you. My video came up for you. We are all connected, and you need to internalize what I'm saying here so you can turn your life around. All right, I'm going to end it here. If you need help with your credit, please visit my website, thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, What Makes Us Different, because that I need you to understand what the way we do it here. If you cannot follow that, then I don't think that we're the right company for you. That's our process. If you need debt validation letter or the cease and desist collection activities letter, those links are below. Links to my website are below. If you need your credit reports and scores, I would really appreciate it if you go to the number 3scores.com. It's one way that I help support the channel. I want everybody to have a great day and thank you for your time. This is Stephen A. Williams, President and Founder of thecreditrepairshop.com.